What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a video, and I'm gonna give you guys a break from all of the stupid price guides that I put together and actually show you a few items I've picked up over the last 3 or 4 or 5 months. I just have not had time to do that lately, so I apologize for that, but I did pick up a few items, some loose graded figures, some baggies, a couple of gorgeous mint on card figures from Chris over at Rogue 5 Toys. So it was starting to pile up. I thought it made sense to finally get my act together and show you guys a few of those items. So one of those is another vintage Tusken Raider. I've got 4 of them that were already in my collection prior to the new arrival, and I thought we would kind of show them really quickly. I've already kind of done this fairly recently. This is the dark brown paint Hong Kong AFA 85. Very dark brown paint, and more on him in a little while, so you can compare it to the new arrival. Then I also have just a standard Hong Kong Sand People AFA 85. This has got kind of the more typical paint color, a lot lighter brown versus the Hong Kong with the very dark brown bandoliers and gloves and face mask. Then I also have a long eye tubes. This one is AFA 80 plus long eye tubes Hong Kong. And by the long eye tubes, they're just referring to the tubes that pop out for his eyes are a lot longer than most of the Hong Kong figures. And then the only UKG gridded item I have is a UKG 80% no COO. So here's the no COO. Also very dark color to the gloves and the face. It's actually, in my opinion, darker than what's labeled the dark brown bandolier Hong Kong. So you can see how much darker that no COO is. The no COO is tough one to track down. Tough one to track down, but not as tough as this one. And this one was sold by CIB over, affiliated with AFA on eBay. And so this was an eBay auction when they had a number of beautiful Spanish figures available at auction. And I put a bid in on, this is that video I made a few weeks ago, or a month ago at least, where I kept losing and this is the only one I actually did win, and that one is the Puck Spanish Sand People, dark brown bandolier, and as AFA always does, they label it Kenner/PBP, and then note it's a Hong Kong COO. So the Hong Kong COO was used for the early Spanish figures before they brought all the manufacturing and all the mold creation in-house. So the Spanish Puck factory imported parts from Hong Kong. So to me, it's incorrect to say Kenner/PBP there. I think it would be okay to say Kenner/Puck since they're using Puck parts, but there's nothing about PBP about this figure. But that's how they choose to do it. It's an archival case, beautiful figure, AFA 80, and it's labeled dark brown bandolier, but in my opinion, what's interesting about it is when you compare it to the dark brown bandolier standard Hong Kong, the non-Spanish Puck, it's actually quite a bit lighter than that one. So even though this one is labeled dark brown bandolier, and this one is also labeled dark brown paint, it's a lot different than than the standard Hong Kong figure. And it's even lighter than the no COO version, which is also pretty dark. And before we dig into the other items, I at least wanted to show you the pages from the book by Javier Ruy Lopez that covers the Spanish figures. He too labels this Hong Kong COO dark bandolier. But the interesting thing is the COO is notably different. So the left-hand side shows you what the Spanish Puck Tusken Raider looks like. It's kind of a staggered COO where the first line is GMFGI 1977, but then it's staggered down a little while and says Hong Kong with the copyright, with the G for the Kong being off-center versus the rest of the Hong Kong lettering. And then the standard Hong Kong is as you see here, where it's GMFGI, GMFCI, GI, 1977, and the Hong Kong is lined up correctly with the copyright. So that was really the only big notable thing that I wanted to point out, that I want to double check that I have that correct. So this one on the this one that's labeled number 10 is the standard Hong Kong, and the number 9 is the Puck. So it does have the the kind of the stagger there. So but the guide does a great job of showing you the different color palettes for these figures. And, there's quite a bit of other information. There's a known shown example here of a 37 back A with the Puck logo. There is no PBP Sand People. So it's really, for the Spanish figures, it's only the POC. And it's kind of hard to find, you know. I've bid on a few of them over the years that are UKG graded, which is how you typically find them. Since they're over in Europe, they're usually sent to UKG. But it's pretty rare to find one that's AFA graded. This is, in fact, the first one I've ever seen that's AFA graded, although I'm sure there have been others. As we always talk about with Spanish figures, they're known to have sloppy paint applications and poor, weak sonic welding. And this one is no different. You can see here it's got some sloppy paint on the arm there. That's kind of a splatter. And there's some other notable damage on the cape up here. But, you know, that's probably why it got the 80 grade, because the rest of the figure looks really clean. You know, the silver paint applications are really clean. It's really this splotch of paint right here. And I'd be curious to know if, you know, if you had taken the condition of this particular figure with the spot on the arm and then the damage to the cape, but it was a standard Hong Kong figure, like, you know, one of these, would AFA grade it the same? Because in my opinion, it seems like they graded this one a little looser than what they would grade a standard Hong Kong figure. To me, I would think if this was a standard Hong Kong figure, they would have graded this an AFA 75 plus. But because the Spanish figures are known for these kind of spotty and sloppy paint applications and other things, that maybe they graded it a little bit looser. And that's something we talk about with UKG, is that they tend to grade a little bit looser with the Spanish figures especially, because they're kind of known to not be as well manufactured as the Hong Kong or even the Lily Letty figures, things like that. So just, it's completely just a guess, but I would guess that that's probably what's going on there. And I think it's appropriate to do so, just given the history of how those Spanish figures were manufactured. I think that's enough on this particular figure. Let's dig into a couple of other loose graded and baggies. Next up is a rare upgrade to one of my loose figures. I very rarely do that, but I decided to pick up another loose graded Chewbacca. And I pulled out, for whatever reason, I pulled out all of my loose graded Chewbaccas. I've got two bootlegs, a Polish and an Uze. I think I've got the order right, but this is an unpainted, non-sonic welded overstock Lily Letty Chewbacca. This is the finished Lily Letty Chewbacca. And I've got a Hong Kong iridescent pouch, which I believe is the far right one. And then I've got the Spanish PBP version of Chewbacca. And I had a CAS 80 Taiwan Chewbacca, but I found this one on eBay, and I probably overpaid for it just a little bit, but I was able to sell my CAS 80 Taiwan Chewbacca, and I was able to pick this one up on eBay. So I wasn't out too much more money, but very rarely do I do that. But in this case, I decided to upgrade to an AFA 85 Taiwan Chewbacca. Not very exciting. For the most part, they all look pretty much the same, with some minor differences to the eyes and paint and kind of colors and things like that. But just nice to add a kind of an upgraded Taiwan Chewbacca. Hard to find the Taiwan Chewbaccas for some reason. I think they only appeared on Return of the Jedi card backs, as well as most likely on the Power of the Force version of Chewbacca, a mint on card. They were kind of a later factory that was added towards the Return of the Jedi run. So pretty cool to add that one. Now let's talk about a few baggies, as well as one loose graded diecast that I was able to pick up recently. I really love how Collector Archive Services loose grades the vintage diecast vehicles, but man, do they take forever to get these back to you if you don't send them in as a rush. So here are the three on the bottom row here that were already in my collection. I had a CAS 90 diecast Snowspeeder. The Slave 1 is graded CAS 85, and then the Darth Vader's TIE Fighter TIE Advanced is graded CAS 85 plus. And they just do an excellent job on these, but they just take so long. I've got 4 other diecast vehicles at CAS right now that hopefully will be done at some point, but I'm running about 14 months right now on one of them, and it has been graded, but they still have not sent it back to me yet. And then I've got 3 others, 1 Imperial Cruiser and 2 Cloud Cars that have a long way to go just based on the time frame. But Chris over at Rogue 5 Toys and 5 Idiots Talking Toys, obviously in the jackpot haul, one of the items that he had listed was this one, and this is the Millennium Falcon diecast. So really awesome case, and it's graded CAS 80, and he had it listed for $250 shipped. And, you know, I got a lot of flack from the members because I'm technically I'm an admin for Rogue 5, and you're not supposed to be, you know, claiming anything. But I said, I'm sorry, I don't care. I want it. I want it. It just takes so long to get these back from collector archive services that to get one already graded, you know, it's hard to pass that up. So anyway, I did get this one from Chris over at Rogue 5 Toys. Just an awesome display. As you can see, I'm kind of just showing some of the different angles here. And as you can see on the label, it's graded CAS 80. So they take up a lot of space relative to, you know, some of the other loose graded items in my collection, but they look really great. And hopefully CAS will get the others back to me in the next 6 months or 9 months. But just an awesome item, and I can't thank Chris enough. And towards the end of this video, I'm going to show you 2 mint-on cards that I was also able to pick up from Chris that are pretty incredible once-in-a-lifetime type additions to my collection. But before I do that, I want to show you 2 awesome baggies that I picked up from a channel subscriber that had them listed for sale, and they are stunners. Next up, I've got a couple of Palitoy baggies that I picked up from good friend and channel subscriber John B. Thank you so much, John, for lightning fast delivery, bomb-proof packing from the UK. He had a few UKG graded baggies, and the first one is an addition to my baggie collection for one of my favorite characters, as you guys know, the Death Star droid. So we've got an AFA 85 Poppy Japanese Death Star droid that I picked up at a Hakes auction maybe 9 months ago. I don't remember exactly when. Then I've got this one I picked up from Rogue 5 Toys, which is an 80 plus grade baggie, and this one is the ESB-A baggie, graded 80 plus. So there you go. It's got some wear to the label there, but pretty decent shape. Here is one I picked up from that seller on eBay, Villains. This is the SWD baggie, and you can see it's got the black writing for the Hong Kong, made in Hong Kong label there. And this one also graded 80 plus from CAS. Here is the new edition. This one is a beauty. This is a Palitoy baggie made in Hong Kong with kind of bluish green text, and it's graded by UKG 85%. So here it is there. Palitoy baggie, Hong Kong Death Star droid. Straight 85s for the subscore. So really nice looking example. And as I've talked about in past videos, I really enjoy how UKG grades their baggies. It elevates the item. I would say Collector Archive Services is probably number 2 because they've got it kind of double encased there. But I just think that the way that UKG does it is the best. It just really presents nicely and kind of, you know, elevates it. It makes it more of a really nice display piece, a kind of an artistic piece for the collection. I hate using that word piece, but, you know, that's what it kind of... It raises it up. It raises it up from a simple baggie to a really awesome display item for my shelves. So that is the first new baggie. The second baggie I picked up is for my Boss run, my Boss baggie runs. And so these are the 2 I already had in my collection. This one I also picked up from Rogue 5 Toys. This is an 85 plus graded baggie for Boss, the ESB-D baggie. And that one is a heat sealed baggie, I believe. Yeah, heat sealed baggie. Really great shape. Look how crisp and clean that is with the writing. It's super, super clean. 85 plus. And then here is one I picked up ungraded from Facebook a long time ago from the Rebel Hideout on Facebook. He always has really nice items. And this one is the SW-A baggie with the orange head. I think I picked this one up from the Rebel Hideout on Facebook, but this one graded 80. A little bit of discoloration or deterioration to the plastic on the limbs there. You can see how much lighter the limbs are versus the legs and the torso. So it got the 80 grade because of that. And then here is the new one. This is also an olive head baggie, olive head Bosk, and this one is also in a Palitoy baggie. So this one is graded UKG 80% as well. Palitoy-B baggie, 80% for the figure. Paint got it, and the paint got an 80 as well. So again, just some very light discoloration to the figure, and some light scratches to the white part of the back of the figure. So that's why it got the 80 grade. But still, you know, where are you going to find Palitoy baggies? They're just very, very tough to find over here in the U.S. And when John had them listed, he is Flash and Fast, FLASHN FAST on eBay. He always has really nice items, high grade UKG items. And so I reached out to him privately, and he sent these over to me in really great shape. So thank you again, John, for the awesome deal there on those two awesome Palitoy baggies. And the last two we're going to show you as part of this recent pickups video are two incredible mint-on cards for my vintage Star Wars Luke Skywalker collection. So let's dig into those right now. As part of that jackpot haul that Chris got a couple months ago, there were two items in there that really caught my eye, and Chris was nice enough to set those aside for me, and they go along with my mint-on card Luke Skywalker. I don't know if it's a run. I wouldn't call it a run when you only have a few of them, but I do have a few that were already in my collection. We've got the 47 back free 4-LOM offer, Empire Strikes Back for Luke Hoth. That is a very slightly yellowed 80 that I picked up from Hakes about a year and a half ago. We have this gorgeous debut card on the 45 back Star Wars Display Arena offer for Luke Hoth. That's a beauty. It's an unpunched clear blister that got an 80 plus with AFA when I sent that in. And then here's another one I picked up from Chris W. a long time ago. This is a 41 back A survival kit offer for Luke Bespin in the Bespin Fatigues AFA 80. Beauty, unpunched, and clear blister, just an absolute stunner. And that one is the looking or the shooting photo, I guess you would call it a looking photo for Luke Bespin. And here is the new edition. So I've finally got the alternate image. I don't know which one's the alternate image. I can't keep track. I think the walking photo is the alternate image. Maybe I'm wrong, but this one is a 31 back B Luke Bespin clear blister. It is a punched example, graded AFA 80. So as Blacked Out Ewoks always says, drink in the vintage goodness, because that one is a stunner. And thank you again, Chris, for the great transaction. Clear blister. You can see the blister, or the blaster, has come loose inside the blister. The tape has come loose, so that detracts a little bit from the aesthetics of it, but give me a break. This is a tough one to get. And here's the grade on it. 31 back B, 80, 80, 80 are the subscores. So straight 80s for a clear blister. A beauty of a Luke Bespin, and it really looks great with the looking photo. I guess it's called a looking photo for Luke Bespin. So I've got both card images now in the collection. As nice as that one is, this next one is the big one, and it's not one that I ever expected to have in my collection ever, to be honest with you, just given the prices. But Chris was kind enough to sell me this one, and this one is one that you just got to see to believe. This is a Palitoy Tri-Logo Last 17 Luke Stormtrooper, Imperial Stormtrooper outfit, and it's got just an iconic image there. And this one has that new figure £1 59 pence sticker that was applied in the Palitoy factory towards the end of the run there, these last 17. You also notice it has the barcode there. Unpunched though, absolutely stunning condition. And here's the label on it. It's an archival case. 80, 85, 85 are the subscores on this one for an overall 80 for the 70 back D Tri-Logo Palitoy. So, wow, what an awesome item. Here's the back of the card. And I did forget to show the back of the card for the 31 back B Luke Bespin. So here you are. I mean, you want to talk about a couple of real stunners that elevates my collection to a kind of a different level. That is definitely it. And I think I've got now, for the last 17, I've got Barada on the Clipper catalog, the Lumat on the Clipper catalog, and now the Luke Skywalker in Imperial Stormtrooper disguise. So, Chris, you didn't have to kind of sell them for the prices that you did, and I just really appreciate everything you did for me as part of that big jackpot haul. And I know some people are going to get a little mad. They're going to get a little mad the fact that I was able to kind of get these from Chris. But, I did help fund that transaction. And Chris, of course, paid me back very quickly. And so I guess, you know, there are some benefits to taking some risks and putting up a lot of money to help Chris fund that big jackpot haul. So these are the two big ones as part of that find that Chris was able to procure and then sell on Rogue 5 Toys. But thank you again, Chris. That's really all I had for this video. I hope you enjoyed looking at some recent pickups. I haven't, you know, since these items have come in, you know, these have been in my collection now for a couple of months, and I just haven't really gotten much else to show you guys in terms of action figures. But I feel like this video speaks for itself in terms of the quality of these items. They're just some really nice gems that that certainly elevate my mint on card collection at a minimum. Thanks as always for watching, and I will be back soon.